Well, butter my crumpets. Yes, it's the 10th of January. We're well into 2025 now. Yes, and the headline of this particular video is a tech detox. What do I mean by that? Well, I'll be going through what I mean by that. Yes, tech detox. How have I been getting on for the first 10 days of 2025 of weaning myself off this tech? I'm going to go through the whys and wherefores of why I'm doing this. And also be sure to stay to the very end where I'll give you a bit of shock news of what's happening with some of my accounts on social media. Yes, that's right. So stick along to the very end. And Strava update. Yes, I know. I don't want to give too much away. So, tech detox. For me, I have stopped wearing this wearable, which is a Garmin Enduro, wonderful watch. 24/7, I've been wearing this for the past 12 months. So, in fact, it was about 18 months. So I bought this prior to going to the Camino de Santiago, where I was doing a trek, 130 kilometers, where I was walking for about 8-9 hours every day. So I needed something with a good battery life and to track all my movement, because that's why we have tech. If it's not on Strava, it didn't happen. But I've taken myself off this. Now I've got a lovely whiteboard here where I'll be showing some of the things that I was tracking 24/7 and what I'm now doing instead of that. Because to be honest, the first 10 days, and I know a lot of people are doing all sorts of things in January, dry January, you know, no alcohol, red, running every day, whatever, you know, whatever people are doing, they're doing all sorts of stuff, which is fantastic. But can you keep that habit up throughout the year? Now, I'm not doing this as a challenge. I'm doing this as what benefits can I get as a runner by taking myself off tech? Because I believe for some of us, the tech is holding us back. Yeah, I believe some of the things that we've been doing on here and some of the things you read on social media are misleading at best. Yes, so I'll leave it there. But for me, I've found it quite difficult because there's a number of things that I record or had been recording on a daily basis. When I get up, first thing I'll check was HRV. I'm not checking that now. Oh, what's my HRV? What's my rest heart rate? The other thing is I would do yoga every morning. As soon as I'd be getting up, I'd be on the yoga mat, put the watch on and record my time of that I'm doing yoga. In fact, one of the mornings I went up to press it and there was nothing there on my wrist. So I'm getting a bit of withdrawal symptoms, shall we say. Running dynamics, I'll talk more about that, you know, when I'm going out for a run. And but yeah, I found it a bit odd. And obviously not having this, it is a bit of a big lumpy thing, not on my wrist. So there's a weight has disappeared. So I think the first few nights going to bed, I did feel there was something missing. I know I'm stating the obvious, but it did feel like, oh, something's been taken away from me, and I felt a bit of withdrawal symptoms. Does that make sense? I don't know. That's how I've been feeling. I'm just here sharing that with you. Yeah, so without further ado, let's pull up this whiteboard because there's a number of things, and I have to say, leave some comments below what you use tech for, or have you weaned yourself off tech? What I'm going to go through now is some of the things that I was using it for and what I'm doing now, maybe of benefit to you. And as I say, at the end, I'll be telling you something that might be a bit of a shock to a lot of people. But yeah, let's pull up the whiteboard. Hey, the whiteboard of truth, because we are going back to basics, to be honest. So I've called this tech detox. Yes, do you like that? Do you like that? So yes, you can read through. These are my 5 top things that I was doing with this watch or with tech. Yeah. Now, gotta have a pointer. Ooh, let's point to this. Number 1. So it is New Year 2025. Yeah. Number 1, HRV, heart rate variance. Do you use this? What do you use it for? What in heaven's name is it? Now, there's a lot of buzz, a lot of talk about this. Now, having the watch on 24/7, it can monitor your heart rate variance, and depending on what it is, in a nutshell, layman's term, is if it's too high or too low, it means that you're maybe not well enough to perform at your best. Yeah, that for me in a nutshell. If you specialists out there want to tell me a bit more details, there's a whole thesis and everything and all that type of stuff. But yeah, you can monitor that with your Garmin 24/7. If you are desperate to monitor your HRV, there are apps out there that can just take the reading and tell you what it is at that time. So for this one, I don't need it. I don't need to be told when I wake up in the morning that I'm under par, lower par, whatever. I know how I feel when I wake up. So I go with my instincts, gut instincts. So I think sometimes the tech is taking that away from us. So I'm weaning away from that and trust myself. You know, there's a lot of motivational, inspirational accounts out there on social media, which are quite contradictory, telling you to believe in yourself and then telling you to use tech to do certain things when really we don't need that tech. So I don't need the tech. I've got watch 24/7 to tell me HRV. RHR, rest heart rate, another indicator about how fit we are. Now, if I told you my rest heart rate was 42 or 45, yes, we can monitor if a rest heart rate goes up. It probably means we might have a bit of a bug or a virus. But again, I'll know if I've got a bug or a virus, yeah? So do I need that? But again, rest heart rate can be tracked, monitored with an app and just taken as a reading as a one-off. We don't need to wear the watch 24/7. Number 3, this was the big one for me. First thing in the morning, I'd press my button. What was my sleep score? Now, it can be a bit brutal, this sleep score. A bit like when you finish a run and you've really done something really hard and your Garmin tells you you're unproductive. It's the same with the sleep score. If you've had a bad night's sleep, it's brutal. It tells you you've had a bad night's sleep, yeah? But again, I know if I've had a good or a bad night's sleep. I don't need a sleep score to tell me. And also, if it's not on your wrist correctly, you may not record it correctly anyway in the first place. So whether you get a 95% sleep score or an 85%, is it going to make that big of a difference? For me, I've managed to wean off that. I don't need to be told that. But again, those were the withdrawal symptoms I was getting the first few mornings, waking up. Oh, what's my sleep score? I want to know, was it good, bad, or indifferent? I'm just going back to basics and trusting myself, believing in myself. Do I feel good? Yeah, I feel good. Let's go for that run. Step counter. Now this was a biggie for me. Before I was running, I used to count my steps with a Fitbit, which I had attached to my waist just to count the steps. Now, we know if it's not on Garmin, it didn't happen. So all this stuff, the steps, 10,000 steps is the prescribed minimum. And what I found throughout the whole of that past 12 months is, apart from some rest days, and even on rest days, I'd often clock up 10,000 steps. Walking around the office, walking around town, it's relatively straightforward. And on days where I didn't do 10,000 steps, was it a big deal? Because most of the days when I'm out moving, running, doing all sorts of stuff, it'd often be 15, 20, 25,000 steps. On marathon days, 45,000 steps. So did it matter where I was on the rankings of the Garmin Step League? For me, I don't need validation. I enjoy my fitness, whatever. I've gone beyond that. I didn't need steps. Number 5, running dynamics, yeah, or running analytics. Now, this is where I've done a bit of a naughty. Whilst I don't wear my Garmin 24/7, I still put my Garmin on for my runs. I still put my Garmin on if I'm going on a long hike. I still put my Garmin on if I'm going to the gym to record the gym sessions. So those I am recording, but I'm not wearing it 24/7. And the reason why I have this is I don't look at it whilst I'm out on my run, training session, whatever. I use it as post-run analysis for me. That's what I do. And I certainly find it really useful if I'm going back to an event that I run the year before, similar to when I was doing the Buntingford 10, the British Masters 10 Mile Championship race. I went back to the previous year's event, looked at the analytics profile, re-familiarized myself with the route and used it for that. That's what I do with it. So whilst with these, I don't need it to be on 24/7. That doesn't need to be on 24/7. And just as a little kicker for you, when I started as a new runner, I really should have said this at the beginning. Should I edit it in and put it at the beginning? No, we'll put it in here. So for me, when I was a beginner runner, a lot of people say beginner runners need all this tech, need everything. No, we don't need anything. The first 6 months when I was running, took up running, I had no Garmin, no tech. The only tech I had was this phone, and I had an app on there which basically, it's similar to what Strava does, but basically it was a button where I would press the button, put it in my pouch and go for my run. And then when I came back, I'd press the button to stop and that was it, yeah? So I was running for a particular amount of time. All my training plans were on time, not distance. So I'd basically run out to a certain point. If it was, say, a 30-minute run for 15 minutes one way, turn around and run 15 minutes back. I know I'm oversimplifying it, but in that 6 months, I managed to get my 10K time down from 56 minutes to just under 45 minutes, and I ran my first half marathon in 1:45. Yeah, so we don't need to take. I then invested because I knew I was going to be doing a marathon, and then started training with that. So that's my hot take on tech detox. Yeah, now the big news, as I said, leave it in the comments below what you think. You know, for me, back to basics. I'm doing lots of other things as well, getting back to my basics where I'm changing the training that I'm doing, numbers of days, all that type of stuff, and adding other things in, which is what I was doing when I was a beginner. So I'm bringing those back in. But the big news, let's put this down. So I said that basically there's some thing that I'm changing. It's social media. Do you call Strava a social media platform? Well, what I found is that speaking to a number of professional coaches and also some other people on YouTube like Philly Bowden and some of the other professional athletes, you know, elite athletes who are paid to run, and I'm competing now at top international level, they don't share their training stuff on Strava. In fact, the guy who'd won the 60 to 65, I tried to find him on Strava, is not there. So these guys who are out competing don't put their training to Strava. So you can see where I'm going. I've switched my Strava off. I've not deleted the account, so don't panic. If you're following me, I'm still there and I'm staying there. I'm not going to go away. I've just set it to private. So basically, I'm not sharing the training that I'm doing because at the end of the day, there's a number of people. And when I first started Strava, there's a lot of people who said to me, why you're not on Strava, what you're hiding. And those very same people, when I went on to Strava and shared what I was doing, disappeared, went all quiet. And a lot of them are doing what I do now. At the time, they were sort of poo-pooing it. But after about 4 or 5 years, they're now changing their plans to adapt to what I'm doing. So there seemed to be some negative stuff going on there. Now, for me, I don't need validation. I enjoy my running, period. Yes, I love getting the kudos. Yes, I love the thumbs up on these videos. Yeah, it's much better than the thumbs down, which has been happening of recent months. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, you know, but maybe some people want me cancelled and want me out of social media because I just say it how it is. And just by me saying I've now set my Strava to private, I can hear the drums beating now with all those people out there who are up in arms. Yeah, so I don't feel the need to share my data. There was some data I was not sharing anyway on Strava, some key training data. I don't feel the need to share that. Because in the same way, you know, if I told you my HRV was 45, does that really mean anything? How many of you are 63-year-old international runners? It doesn't make any point sharing that. But I appreciate people being on there, kudos, validation and all that. But for me, I just enjoy my running, love the running. Back to basics. That's what it's all about. I hope you've enjoyed this video, found it useful in some way, and I look forward to reading your comments and I will respond to each and every one of you. So keep it positive, keep it polite down there, and don't have a go at people who have different opinions. We'll have different opinions. And yeah, love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your weekend. And as you've got all the way to the very end now, yeah, here in the UK, it's the 10th of January. Today was the coldest day. I think it was -6 here in the Midlands. I know up in Scotland was -15. This is Celsius, by the way, for my American friends, not Fahrenheit, so it's even bigger numbers, below 0. Stay warm. I hope you continue to enjoy your running, and I look forward to seeing you at future races coming through in the next quarter, where I've got my spring marathon lined up and a number of other events coming up. It's going to be exciting, and I'm looking forward to see how my back to basics gets me back to even better running and enjoyment more, rather than being held back by tech. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Love you all. Take care. Bye, bye, bye. I was blowing kisses without doing that. Keep on buttering your crumpets, guys.